Hey everyone, it's Trigger True Crime. I wanted to come with you with a quick video to lay a foundation of a lot of the cases that I will be covering and talking about on my channel. My hometown is in a county called Robeson County, North Carolina. It is the largest county in North Carolina geographically, not population. As you can see from the map, it's settled between the border of North Carolina and South Carolina in an area sometimes referred to as the Border Belt. If you've ever traveled down I-95 on the East Coast, you probably would have seen some billboards talking about south of the border or Pedro, such as these, coming out of Robeson County into Dillon. So you'll actually travel through Roland into Dillon, where south of the border is located. Also, if you take a closer look, Cumberland County is just north of us. It is home to formerly Fort Bragg, now referred to as Fort Liberty. Home of several high-profile cases at this point, including the murder of Michael Jordan's father. It was also the home of the late Tupac Shakur's mother and philanthropist, Afena Shakur, affectionately known by locals as simply Miss Faye. We love and miss you. This is an article I found. It's dated 2015, so obviously some years ago. But I felt like it was very informative in helping me set a foundation for a lot of cases that I'll be covering, as I mentioned, that have some kind of tie to Robeson County. Robeson County, a deadly county. Imagine trying to raise your children in a community where statistically 123 young people per 100,000 die by violence every year. That's the reality in Robeson County, according to researchers at the University of North Carolina. It's a youth death rate that's more than double the rest of the state's rate, and we learned it's just the tip of the iceberg for Robeson County. Robeson County, North Carolina is home to the Lumbee tribe, the largest group of Native Americans east of the Mississippi, with a rich history that dates back more than 400 years. Today, it's a mixed community along the Lumber River, with children and families mostly working to stay afloat. In the last decade, the rural county lost almost 9,000 manufacturing jobs. One-third of the population lives below the poverty line. What really plagues this community is its murder rate. 23 people for every 100,000 will be murdered in the county, as compared to about 7 per 100,000 statewide, according to the Department of Justice statistics. Last year, I think we had 17 homicides, and this year we've had 34, said Lieutenant Reggie Strickland, the lead detective in the Robeson County Sheriff's Office Homicide Division. Strickland, whose own sister and niece were murdered in the county back in 2009, has seen a lot. In the fall of 2014, it seemed like Robeson County was on the news for murder almost every other day. Several murders took place in less than 2 weeks. During a triple homicide in a wooden swamp area behind McLeod Drive on November 30th, 2014, the bodies of 43-year-old John Christopher Freeman, 34-year-old Teddy Ray Maynor, and 34-year-old Mitch Oxenine were found. Oxenine died at the hospital, but not before telling police the three were robbed for marijuana. It was a drug deal gone wrong. Police later arrested this guy, 22-year-old Casey Collins Locklear, for the crime and charged him with 3 counts of first-degree murder and robbery with a dangerous weapon. I'd say there are about 60 cases we are working on actively, said Strickland. During another outrageous murder in November of 2014, police say Billy Jackson bludgeoned his 75-year-old mother and 54-year-old brother to death with a knife. It was a double homicide that took place in the 2000 block of Highway 20 East. It was like a jealousy type situation, Strickland said. Gary had stayed away from the family for a bit and had recently returned. Strickland says drugs, poverty, domestic violence, and gangs are all reasons why the murder rate in the county is so high. In 2012, there were 13 murders. In 2013, there were 10. And the 2014 numbers by the Department of Justice hasn't officially come out yet, but the sheriff's office says Robeson County saw 34 murders. There's a group out of the University of North Carolina who is trying to attack the problem by targeting youth. Teen court is a place where teens who have committed offenses less than a Class A misdemeanor, likely disorderly conduct, fighting, or possession of marijuana, can get a second chance. Thanks to a $6.5 million grant from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the NC Department of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention created Teen Court along with a parenting program and a program for middle school kids to deal with anger. The goal of these programs is to determine the cause of violence in the county and trying to put an end to it. Organizers believe focusing on our youth is the key. I call it a snowball effect, said Sean Barefoot, the teen court coordinator. You see something small and it starts with behaviors that parents may not take seriously, like taking something out of your purse or taking a piece of candy that belongs to another child. But that behavior builds as you grow. 15-year-old Shania Sampson recently attended her exit interview. She went through the program for a disorderly conduct charge for fighting, sentenced to community service and seminars, among other things. Sampson says thanks to teen court, she'll think twice. Do I really want to get into trouble with a possible record on the line? Sampson asked. Nah, but I don't have a bad record. I want to make it out of high school. The program is now in its fifth year, and organizers are collecting and analyzing the data. They say it's difficult to know whether they're making a long-term difference. By day to day, they'll see a change. We constantly get calls from school administrators and school resource officers who say they see a change after a couple weeks, which is awesome, Barefoot said. As the entire Robeson County, the sheriff said he's in the process of putting together a program involving local, state, and federal law enforcement officials. The sheriff wouldn't go into detail, but said it's a program that they plan to unveil sometime in February. The office is anxious to get it going, but says ultimately it can't do it all. And to truly get a hold of the violence in Robeson County, it's going to take community involvement. Until the community gets involved, the government gets involved, and local agencies and get programs set up to help keep youth off the street and solve crimes, it's going to continue to get worse, Strickland said. While this past fall was particularly busy, one for the homicide division, some hope did come for the community. The sheriff's office says while pounding the pavement trying to solve crimes, they managed to take 47 guns off the street. 2015. So this particular program with Teen Court, sponsored by UNC North Carolina, which we call UNC Chapel Hill. This was a grant, $6.5 million. And as you know, 5 years from that would have been 2010. But we already were implementing this program, obviously from another grant source, before UNC Chapel Hill got involved. So I'm very encouraged to know that UNC got involved with our Teen Court program, sponsoring it, implementing research, and hopefully we can see a change. And my channel, I hope it is viewed especially by my neighbors and the people that I love in my place called home. I hope you understand that my this is my tool. This is me being proactive in community involvement. Sometimes we really need to look at ourselves. In our small town, it's encouraged not to air our dirty laundry. And although I agree with that, sometimes we need to take a hard, long look in the mirror at ourselves. Thank you for listening. If you're still interested in the history of corruption of Robeson County, please consider the documentary Moment of Truth. It is found on a few different platforms, but it is free and it's very detailed about the history of corruption as it pertains to the murder of Michael Jordan's father. Also, keep your eye out for a film that has yet to be released, but is sure to be informative, entitled Lumbyland: Dark Waters, Darker Deeds, a film by Belinda Maynor Lowry. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.